Finishing a screenplay can feel impossible at times. Even if screenwriting is your passion, it can take months just to write a single sentence. I've been there. For years, every word I typed felt like a struggle, whether this was because of procrastination, writer's block, or perfectionism. But everything changed when I discovered this one game-changing secret. So in this video, I'll reveal what this secret is, how it will boost your chance of success, and my step-by-step system to finish your screenplay faster than ever. There's one mistake every screenwriter makes at some point, and yes, I myself am guilty of this mistake. Overcoming this is how I was able to write 3 scripts in about 3 months. After I wrote my first screenplay ever, which was like 7 years ago now, I sent it to everyone I could, and then I waited. But one by one, the rejections came in. Nobody wanted to make my movie, and I was crushed. The only conclusion I could come to was I'm a bad screenwriter. So I did what seemed logical. I just dove headfirst into learning. I read screenwriting books. I studied my favorite screenplays, but after years of studying and consuming as much as I possibly could, I looked back and realized I had nothing to show for it. If you're stuck in this endless cycle of overlearning, obsessing over your outline, or giving up halfway through a screenplay, there's only one thing that you need to do. It is the #1 superpower that sets apart the professionals from the amateurs. This idea is captured perfectly in Tick, Tick, Boom, because Jonathan Larson, he spends months pouring everything into his first play, only for his agent to tell him that nobody wants to buy it.
So what am I supposed to do now?
You start writing the next one. And after you finish that one, you start on the next. And on and on. And that's what it is to be a writer, honey.
This is the reality of screenwriting. If you want to make it, you are going to have to spend a significant amount of time doing one thing: writing. But here's the harsh truth. You can't just force yourself to write every day and expect to succeed, because if that's what you're doing, you're inevitably gonna give up because you're forcing yourself. You're gonna hate every second of it. The only way to truly stick with it is to fall in love with the process of writing itself. So how are you supposed to shift your focus from fear of failure to just loving the act of writing? This is where the real secret lies. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why screenwriting means so much to you? Why you keep coming back to it even when it's hard? Here's a quick thought experiment that will flip the switch from dreading writing to being excited about it. If I handed you $1 billion right now, what would you do with your life? Seriously, pause the video for a second and think about this, because most people dream of traveling the world, buying mansions, or cruising around on a yacht. But if your answer is I'd spend all my time writing, that says something very profound about you. It reveals that writing is something you're deeply passionate about. When you realize this, it changes everything. Suddenly, writing doesn't feel like an obligation to you, it feels like a privilege. Whether you're a beginner or you're an Oscar winner, the only thing that defines you as a writer is the fact that you write.
Truly, for some men, nothing is written unless they write it.
This realization is how you fall in love with the process of writing. And the more you love it, the easier it will be to write consistently, thus bringing you closer to the success you've always wanted. So next time you sit down to write, don't think about how far you still have to go. Just realize you're already living the life of a screenwriter and embrace that. But maybe even after realizing this, you still sit down at the desk and nothing. The blank page stares back at you, and suddenly every idea you had feels wrong or not good enough. How do you actually start putting words on the page when perfectionism holds you back at every single step? It's this exact realization that not only helped me break free from writer's block, but made my screenplays flow so effortlessly that I actually started to enjoy writing again. And it was by fixing this. When I hit the midpoint of my last screenplay, I spiraled. The story felt flat, the beats didn't line up absolutely perfectly, and I was worried I'd never be able to wrap it up. So to get some inspiration, I turned to Quentin Tarantino. Hearing him say this was what finally broke me out of this rut.
I don't lead the characters. I let the characters lead me. They are the ones that know best.
This clip hit me like a bolt of lightning. Instead of forcing my characters into some like pre-planned formula, I asked myself a simple question. What does my character do here? That one thought broke my spiral. I stopped obsessing over structure and focused solely on what was driving my characters through the story. From there, the rest of the screenplay, it practically wrote itself. This is what sets Quentin Tarantino apart. He doesn't try to hit perfect plot points at perfect times. He just gets to know his characters so well that they write his screenplays for him. If you want your writing to flow effortlessly, stop forcing it. So, how do you get to know your characters so well that they feel like real people? There's a very powerful formula for this that will make your story unforgettable. But without it, your characters will feel shallow and disconnected, and you'll struggle to get to know them well enough to write your screenplay. This formula is the backbone of every amazing movie you've seen, including Goodfellas. Throughout the movie, we watch Henry Hill's life spiral out of his control. From his obsession with the gangster lifestyle, the money, the power, the status, to his attempts to balance it with the demands of having a family. Every moment feels raw and authentic, but what's really driving Henry? What is it that keeps us glued to the story, watching as his world falls apart? There's a simple truth about characters that makes stories like this work, and once you understand it, you'll be able to breathe life in your own characters and stories too. Here's the key. Great characters aren't just a list of traits or backstory. They're defined by what they want and why they can't have it. These two forces alone create all the conflict that drives your story forward. So, how do you take this knowledge and turn it into a screenplay that practically writes itself? To help you do exactly that, I've created a free 5-day course that takes you step by step through the process of writing your screenplay from start to finish. Over the next 5 days, I'll send you 1 email per day, each one packed with actionable steps to help you write a story that just flows out of you effortlessly. By the end of the course, you won't just have the tools to finish this one screenplay, you'll have a system you can use to write every screenplay that you ever make for the rest of your life. For now, this course is free, but that's not gonna last forever. So if you're ready to finally stop struggling and write the screenplay you've been dreaming of, click the link in the description below to join right now while it's still free.